All right, so there's something that I want to talk to you guys about. There are many things on social media that just they go past me. People come at me with different things and they don't bother me at all. I have pretty thick skin, but there's a particular topic that does kind of get to me over time, and that topic is the one where people come after me for believing other people when they say they are natural, when other people say that they are fake. Now, people come after me for my natural status. Honestly, that doesn't bother me all that much. If anything, I view it as a bit of a compliment. But when people go after people that I've said I believe are natural, it does bother me because it's almost like they start to not trust me because of that, which is very frustrating because the reasons that I believe these people, or the reasons that I'm okay with these people saying that they're natural, are very well founded. And that is the part that drives me the craziest because I put reasoning behind my opinions on things. Now, I'm not saying that there's people that they couldn't be lying. Obviously they can. You have no idea what people do behind closed doors. But when I say that I believe somebody is natural, it's not even so much that I'm saying it's a character judgment that I believe they're natural, so much as I have taken a look at their physique, their overall time frame for building their muscle, their lifestyle, stuff like that, and I have seen whether it is within the realm of natural possibility. Now, that doesn't mean that they don't have good genetics or even great genetics, but it's always based on a number of variables. So when people come after me like, come on, man, like I used to trust you, but that does bother me because most of the time I've taken a look at these people's backgrounds and said, yes, it is possible that they're natural. Does that mean that they absolutely are? No. So I think I'm going to start changing my language on the way I talk about this subject because most often I say, yeah, I believe they're natural. And the problem with saying that is it's almost people are taking that as me judging their character and saying that I believe them to be natural, when really that isn't the case. More so what I'm saying is their physique, what they've accomplished, falls within the realm of natural possibility. Doesn't mean that it's common, doesn't mean that many people can do it. It just means that it is possible based on what we have seen of natural potential. So typically what I go by is something called FFMI, fat-free mass index. And fat-free mass index is essentially just a ratio of body fat to muscle mass to height. Most naturals are going to be below 25. That is typically the case when it comes to FFMI. And if you start getting into the 25s or 26 range, then you are typically going to be one of the better naturals when it comes to accruing muscle mass. Now, that's not to say that not a single natural ever could possibly go outside of these standards, but it becomes very rare. So most people that I've talked on who I believe, or I should say have said I believe to be natural, fall either at 26 FFMI or under. Some of them fall significantly under, which is where I start to come to the fact of, okay, you can't just look at the way a person looks and say, okay, that's gear. There have been people that I've seen people say that about who have an FFMI of 23. Just to put that in perspective, I have an FFMI of somewhere around 25-ish, which makes sense for the fact that I've been lifting for a very long period of time. But you'll get people who look far freakier than me who are 22, 23 FFMI because of their insertions, leanness, vascularity, and people will automatically assume these people are on gear without actually taking a look into the statistical proportions of their body fat to muscle to height. And just to give you a quick example, and I don't mean to be necessarily throwing this person under the bus, but I get asked this question a lot about a certain person, and that person is Paul Kruger. And he put up an FFMI video of himself showing his FFMI, and I believe it was around 30. And he's a very well-renowned bodybuilder who claims natural. He's even won the natural Mr. Olympia, but his FFMI sits at around 30. And we don't really see naturals hit that. It's just not the case. There's just not been well-documented cases of naturals getting up anywhere near this. So for me to sit in good faith and say, yes, Paul Kruger, I believe, is a natural athlete, doesn't make sense if we're going by standards. So when I get questions on him, I don't say, yeah, I believe he's natural. because it doesn't fit within the standards that we have seen for naturals. But then I often get asked questions about people like, well, let's put out the most obvious example. Shizzy has an FFMI of below 26. So when I see that, automatically my thought is, oh, okay, it's within the realm of possibility. I also take a look at the fact that he's in his late 20s. I believe he's 27 or 28. And I say, okay, so he's had a good amount of time to put on the muscle that he has. So that's typically what I look at rather than just saying, oh, well, look at him. He looks freaky. It's like, well, yeah, he does. He has very big arms and a good-sized chest. And that does give him a very particular look that a lot of people have associated with enhanced athletes. But in the end, if you take a look at the overall muscle mass, it does fall within natural standards. And that's where I think people have made it a moral argument where they say, oh, like, I used to trust you, but then this happened and you said this. And it's like, I have reasons behind things that I say. And if it came out later on that somebody was on gear who I previously said I believed to be natural, it wouldn't really mean all that much to me other than the fact of, man, like, I'm kind of pissed that I got duped. And that could be a possibility. It could happen at some point or another. But in the end, when I say that I believe that somebody is natural, it's not that I'm saying that I would put all my betting cards that that person has to be natural. It's more so just, if it's within the realm of natural possibility, why am I worried about it? An example is Liver King, right? So Liver King was one of those ones where people often say, oh, you believe this guy is natural, you probably believe Liver King was natural. Long before those emails ever came out about Liver King's cycle and stuff like that, I literally made videos joking about the fact that he's obviously not natural and claiming to be, because of the fact that he falls outside of natural standards. Not because of the fact that he has a freaky look, that he's a red tomato, which are obviously also factors that people look at. The fact that his veins were the size of, I don't even know, the sandworms from Dune. But in the end, really what it came down to was the height, weight, leanness did not match natural standards. And that is more so what I look at than anything else. There are other factors that you can try to look for, but in the end, that just ends up being speculation, where these are hard, fast numbers that we can look at. All of this to say, I apologize if me saying that I believe that certain people are natural has caused any of you to lose faith in my overall judgment on situations, but really all I'm doing is taking a look at the variables that we can analyze. Height, weight, body fat. Not saying that that person must absolutely be natural because they fall within standards. More so me just saying that if they are within standards, why would I spend my time being like, no, bro, I don't believe you. It doesn't make any sense. And we should all be focused on what we can achieve regardless. Just because so-and-so can get to a 25 FFMI doesn't mean you can. Maybe your best is 24. Maybe your best is 23. But to then say that person absolutely can't be natural because of jealousy or some other emotion that is causing you to feel inadequate, I'm just not a big fan of that. So that's my rant on that. You guys can take it for what it is. I don't want it to be something where if somebody asks me if somebody's natural and I say, yeah, I mean, I believe that they're natural, it's not me saying that I know everything about that person and that I've watched them 24/7 and done every single test in the book on them. It's just me saying I don't have a specific reason to believe they're not. So typically, if you come to me about that, I will ask you height, weight, body fat. And at that point, unless they're maxing out the FFMI and they're only 14 years old, I'm probably going to be like, no reason to really speculate about it. TNFO.